Hello, brothers and sisters. I wanted to share something with y'all I thought y'all might find interesting because I had mentioned the old man in the sky concept. So, this is what I'm talking about. Now, just listen to this. This is just so ridiculous, and I'll post the link to it in the description so you can hear it. So, here we go.
This is his love letter to you.
Now, just listen. This is his love letter to you. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward.
You may not know me, but I know everything about you.
My child, you do not know me, but I know everything about you. So I'll post that in the description so you can go and listen to it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Nothing like it in the Bible. So, for example, like let's look at what Jesus said in Matthew 23, right? I'll try to zoom in so you can see a little better. All right, so it says, Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So this was the government back then. You couldn't mess with them. They would come and kill you like they did Jesus. That's why he's saying this. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Just as the Constitution of the United States and the whole concept of democracy is that it protects the wealth of the nation. It protects the people who have a lot of money from the bewildered herd, right? The useless eaters. That's what the government does. It protects the rich people, the 0.01%. It doesn't protect the 99.9%. So it makes sense that he's saying this because they will come and they will kill you and they will shoot you if you don't comply. So, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. One of their fingers. They won't even lift up a finger to help you, right? But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. They prance around in tuxedos and carry around a big Bible, right? Yeah, you better listen to them if they happen to come to your house because they might try to kill you, is the idea. Just like during the Roman Catholic Inquisition, if you wouldn't eat the cracker, they'd kill you. Just like if you don't agree with your grandmother or your mother, they will write you out of the inheritance. They won't want to have anything to do with you, and that's why they have the political influence of the family, is because they have money. Pay attention to those things, and mark my word, if you're young and this hasn't happened, if you're older, you know what I'm talking about. When someone dies, everyone's waiting around for an inheritance, and that's why the scripture always speaks of the word son. Speaking of Jesus Christ in you, it's not speaking of some arbitrarily son named Jesus who lived 2,000 years ago. It's speaking of what the Bible speaks of when it says, Christ in you, the hope of glory. So there's another interesting thing Jesus spoke of when they ask if your master pays taxes. So let me type in pay taxes and see if that brings it up. Of course. So let me just Google it. All right, so Matthew 17:24. Matthew 17:24. Now, this is something you won't hear of too much. People don't like to read this one. It's a lot like when Jesus said, Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. Don't get involved with politics, and don't get involved with Rome. You know, the exceptionalism, the nationalism. Listen to what happens here. Matthew 17, verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they received tribute money. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, Doth not your master pay tribute? And Peter says, yeah, he just answers him. He doesn't go and ask Jesus, right? He said yes. And when he was coming to the house, Jesus prevented him. Notice he didn't even ask Peter what had happened, because Jesus already knew. Jesus is Yahweh incarnate. He already knows what took place. Say, what thinkest thou, Simon, Peter? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Who do they take money from? Who do they take custom from? Custom just means something that's required of you. So if you're crossing a border into a different country and they say, let me see your passport, give them your passport. Don't say, no, I'm not showing you my passport, right? Kings of the earth take custom or tribute of their own children or of strangers. Peter saith unto him, of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, then are the children free. So there's an analogy here, and I've spoken of this before. When you use that quote, we look for causes that are now in operation, that are known to produce the effect in question. So you say, like, what in the world is Jesus talking about? This is a historical book, right? Well, he's talking about the same thing here, as we see happening today. The kings of the earth, they take custom from strangers, and it profits the family. Well, there's a double thing working here, because God, when he elects us and he starts working in us, that's the dunamis, that's the synergos, the synergy that the scripture speaks of. That's the word power, and when it speaks of God working together with us, or us working together, that word synergy, that word ergos is an old word that has to do with God working through us. And the dunamis is that power of him pressing that into us and working through us. So the idea here is that Jesus makes us free. We are his children. So you can see that here too. Not only do they keep money for their inheritance, God works through us. And it's a miracle, because Jesus knew what he was going to say before they even came. So God makes us kings and makes us priests. It says in 1 Peter chapter 2, Revelation chapter 1, Revelation chapter 5, and Exodus 19. We are kings and priests, or a kingdom of priests. So you can see that work in here too. When we are free, because we are Jesus's, we are God's, as far as we belong to him. And the scripture also says, if that inheritance has come unto us, then we are the sons of God, the inheritors. That's what it's speaking of right here too, is inheritance, obviously. So, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast a hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take, and give unto them for me and thee. So we're going to pay taxes, and he used a miracle. A lot of people hate this verse because it's very suggestive that the kings rob the strangers, and it benefits their children. Just like that's the Constitution of the United States, and that's the reason that they wrote the laws the way they did. And that's why the people at the top, they get away with murder. They'll go and kill a whole country. But if you get caught with a joint in your pocket in America, you'll go to jail forever, depending on how many times you've been busted. Now, I'm just using that as just so you can kind of get the gist of like the great inconsistency between the rich governors and the poor and the people who are considered the scum of the earth, just so you can see that it's just very crazy the way that the system is geared. So, and I believe this is a really great example right here to show you that kind of duality we see, or the way that it's just a cognitive dissonance in this world. And it makes it hard for people even to understand these things, because many people are poor and they don't understand much about inheritance and things of that nature, or government in general. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I'm out of time, so thanks for taking the time to watch. See y'all in the next video. Bye.